Today, there have been multiple reports coming out of all Moscow international airports of Russian males being held up for interrogations for hours at a time in certain cases. This time, they're holding up males that are actually returning to Russia after being absent from 4 to 5 months. Guess what? That makes them leave in Russia right after mobilization was announced. They're coming back for some reason and they're interrogated. Me saying right now, I told you so, would not serve the justice. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin, and welcome to Inside Russia, where I give you news updates that I find important and I think explain what's really happening inside Russia. Inside Russia is where usual Russia explained by the unusual Russian. Well, let's talk about breaking news today. Russia hasn't really been a sleeping pod lately, but what has started happening yesterday and today is quite remarkable. I hope you will find something very interesting and new today, and what I'm gonna tell you is fairly disturbing. Anyway, do you know how do you learn that you're on the verge of something big? Usually, it's when you realize that the big news start coming out at the same time, simultaneously at high speed, and the same day. Let's say. Let me give you an example. You know that there's something big is up in the air in the economy when one company comes out with real bad news report and expected good report, expected incomes, but then a large company comes out with a report that it lost money. Then another large company coming out at the same time. Then another one. Then the government announced that it invokes certain law that it announces extraordinary actions like shutting down stock exchange at the same time. And another large company comes out with a statement that it's cutting out lots of people. And another company comes out that, stating that it defaulted a loan, a big one. And another one comes out, the project is bust that it had hopes for. One news after another, like a domino effect, That's what we are seeing in Russia right now. The big news have come out today, and that make me believe that in Russia we are on the verge of something big, something real big. The situation, this news have created the situation where in Russia we say the air is so thick you can take a knife and cut through it and spread it over a piece of bread, replacing butter, and eat it. Okay, that's how Russia is feeling today. These news that have come out, they really are not of surprise to me. They are exactly what we talked right here in the streams on this channel not too long ago. And some of you, well, most of you must have fresh memories of the discussions. So the news were kind of expected. They were forecasted by me. They were expected. Moreover, the actions that will follow now in the upcoming days, we'll discuss them today. I'll tell you what's going to happen. But it's one thing when you forecast something, when you think something will happen, it's another thing when it actually happens. And today, it's happening. Without further ado, let's jump right into the discussion, into the news, into everything today. let's take a look what's so important happening right now. So I changed the topic of my stream right at the very last minute. I was gonna do a stream on a different thing today. My stream. First things first. Let me remind you where Russia stands right now. Basically, not much has been happening since about July, since midsummer. Russia's stand and Russia's theme has been pretty constant. It has been gradually giving up positions it had gained before June. The Ukrainians have been pushing, and the Russians haven't been withdrawing slowly, with certain disasters happening along the way, here and there. First disaster was in Kharkov in September, where Russian troops just withdrew, and Russian army called it a sudden regrouping. Okay, and the Russian troops just got up and left different directions, regrouping. So in my eyes, it was a disaster. Another disaster was Kherson, and recently lack of advancements in Bakhmut. Okay, there's been a huge battle for Bakhmut, and Russians have been pushing and pushing and pushing with no positive result. The situation that Russia has been in chess is called Zugzwang. It's a German word, and it means that every move that a player makes brings the player into a worse position. And of course, Russian government had hopes and made certain moves. It tried over last 6 months. First, it hoped to use natural gas as gas supply to Europe as a geopolitical weapon. It started blackmailing Europe, hoping that would change Europe's attitude towards Ukraine. It would stop supporting Ukraine, and it would force Ukraine to make a deal with Russia, negotiate, and come up with some kind of agreement. And Russia would continue supply gas to Europe. So Russian government started blackmailing European countries that it cut off natural gas supply of Russian natural gas completely. Remember the commercial? Oh, it's gonna be a long, cold winter. You must have seen that, Well, Russian government failed miserably. It miscalculated grossly. Basically what it did, it shot itself in both feet, and it has lost the best paying, best customer it had, Europe. It has lost a great deal of revenue. Not only natural gas, but Europeans, they saw how Russia was behaving, and they decided to stop buying Russian natural gas and oil. And that was bad. Anyway, it's currently losing billions of rubles every day by not supplying gas and oil to European countries, and by forcing to sell oil with price cap. I made streams a few days ago about that. Go and watch Oil Mageddon and last couple streams about how Russian economy is doing. So that was one thing that Russia was hoping for, and it was making move, but miscalculated, failed miserably. Another move was Russian government was kind of passively waiting for the outcome of midterm elections in the United States, November. It had big hopes that Democrats would lose and Republicans would win. It would be a crushing victory, and the Republicans would replace the Democrats, and the Republicans would stop military and financial aid to Ukraine. Well, to say that the Russian government grossly miscalculated would be a big understatement. The USA has tripled its support, both financial and military, to Ukraine. So did other countries. Not only Ukrainians are given money, certain missiles, they're given heavy tanks, heavy machinery, heavy equipment. Well, then mobilization happened. That was another attempt to change the situation by the Russian government. September 21st, there was announcement, and over 300,000 Russian males were mobilized. That's official number from the Russian Ministry of Defense. Unofficial number is much bigger. Mobilized. That's official number from the much bigger, but we don't know. Those are rumors. Let's say at least 300,000 people were mobilized. The Russian government thought that that would change everything at the front lines, that the supply of people would flock into Ukraine and Russian troops would start, the tide would turn and Russian troops would start, pushing forward into Ukraine again, advancing. Well, surprise, surprise. Miscalculation again. A big, big, big one. The one that cost, I don't know, thousands of Russians, hundreds of thousands lives. These people who make the plans and calculate odds for the Kremlin, I think they somehow work for the Ukrainians because things they do hurt Russia so bad, Ukrainians couldn't have done any better, okay? So, no kidding. Then Russian government relied upon a different tactic. It's a recent event, in the winter. It started bombing civil infrastructure of Ukraine, targeting civil infrastructure and civilians. It relied upon Iranians for the supply of ballistic missiles and the drones, hoping Russia would have a continuous supplies of the drones and the missiles and use it to destroy Ukrainian civil infrastructure. Russian senators publicly told of a new strategy to make usual Ukrainians, usual people, suffer. Make civilians suffer by cutting them from heat, hot and cold water, and, gas and electricity supply. Well, another miscalculation. Iranians showed Russian government middle finger. No rockets, no drones. Surprise, surprise, And this is where Russia is standing right now. In the middle of February, 1 year after attacked Ukraine, promising back in February of 2022, promising to occupy Kyiv in 3 days. Right now, the troops are mostly demoralized, running out of ammunitions, not having access to new weaponry, and so many so-called friends of Russia turned back on Russia. Well, I would say all of them. And Russia is left alone. It has no trump cards left. Good plan. Everything is going according to the plan. Remember, we've been told that hundreds of times. Don't you worry. The leadership knows. It has a plan. Everything is going according to the plan perfectly well. Nice fudging plan. So what's happening now? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that the only thing remaining, the only resource remaining and easily accessible, available for the Russian government is people. Russian citizens. Only by throwing huge amounts of people into Ukraine, into the front lines, they can possibly change something at the front lines. At least they have a shot, a very long one, but a shot. It's something they can try to do. Obviously, a huge amount of people would be dead, would die, but at this point, it's clear to everyone that they could care less. And this is where I personally stand on, in my opinion. I've said it many times. I have no doubts that this is what Putin will attempt to do. Putin, I'm saying Putin because usually he's the decision maker. He's the one coming up with these decisions, executing them, and the others are supporting one way or another. So, this start of utilization human resource, the last remaining resource Russia has, it's actually been going on since January 17th. I had promised about 10 days before, I believe on January 7th, that, or even before that, that this next phase of mobilization and the military operation will start on January 17th, and I was right on the money. Because on the January 17th, Russian Ministry of Defense announced that Russian military started to increase its amount of its troops by quite a large number. Okay, and the wheels started turning on the 17th. But Russian government learned from its mistakes. Russian government actually employs quite a few smart people, okay? I'm not sure about their morals, but the brains are in the right place. What happens is, what happened in September, the announcement of the mobilization was done very abruptly, very rudely, very in a stupid way, so to speak. Vladimir Putin came up and said, mobilization. And that's it. Nothing else was happening. The borders weren't closed. People could be hiding. There was no unified system that tracked all potential mobilizees and so forth. So there was just announcement, and that's it. And the people actually started writing papers on the ground at the mobilization centers and chasing with those papers in hand, chasing people, manhunting them by the subway, bus stops, and stuff like that. So inefficient. But they certainly learned the lesson. And starting January 17th, perhaps even before that, that everything started happening covertly in a very, very stealth way, okay? They've been hiding their actions. How do I know that things started? Well, the changes have been in the military, okay? The military has changed its approach to mobilizing people, including they started reaching out to prisons, saying that people from prisons could, join. They identified a certain audiences of Russian males that they cut off possibility of leaving Russia. There are about 8 million people currently cannot leave Russia, and they started taking them, mobilizing them first. But no news. It's not in the news. You cannot hear it. How do I know? Because we have so many people here in Tashkent with friends left in Russia, and some of those friends got mobilized, and they saw the process. Still, people go out, knock from door to door, having huge stacks of documents in their hands, and they're just giving to everyone. But now there's a unified base, and if you've been served a paper, you cannot leave Russia, okay? So they've been doing it quite effectively and covertly, but you cannot hide it forever, okay? One way or another, it's gonna come out, and it's actually today. The things started hitting the fan. We woke up this morning, and the disturbing news came out. To me, disturbing, very disturbing. To any sane, smart person, this news in Russia, this news is very disturbing. U.S. State Department made an announcement warning all Americans to leave Russia immediately, as soon as possible, due to increased risk of mobilization of Americans who have double citizenship. And at the current state, the United States has very little possibilities to help those U.S. citizens who are mobilized. Basically, it can't do much, okay, at the current state of things. But it has an advance warning for the Americans to leave Russia, ASAP. You know what? The US State Department has been right so many times. It predicted Russia would attack Ukraine. I did not believe that. I am the one who was going around telling, oh, Russia would never do that. That's BS. These guys are overreacting. Time will tell, you will see. But they were telling the truth. They had great intelligence. They have great intelligence. They were telling that Russia would attack Ukraine on February 16th and attacked on February 23rd, 1 week later. 1 year ago, in mid-February, the US State Department issued a very similar warning to the Americans to leave Russia ASAP because something big was about to happen. And it turned out to be true. The State Department turned out to be right. This is big. American intelligence is so good. I bet it has sources inside the very inner circle of the Tsar, inside the Kremlin. Because how else they would get this information? I don't know. Only from the inside, the very deep inside. But you know what? What are we talking about? Let's use common sense, logic. Let's suppose that Americans are off target. Let's suppose that, can Americans be off target in theory? Can they make a mistake? Well, of course they can. The people, right? We all make mistakes. Usually, American intelligence is spot on, has it proved time and time again, but things can happen. Later today, an avalanche of warnings from different countries started coming out. France in Australia issued the same warning to its citizens, their citizens, to leave Russia immediately due to an increased risk of mobilization. Brazil followed. Brazil followed the suit. Brazil knows what Russia is denying. Then Canada issued a warning to its citizens to leave Belarus, and it means that Belarus will get involved somehow into this next big thing. The rumors have been for the past 2 months that Russia has been, allocating troops in large quantities to Belarus, okay? But Russia's been saying, of course, it's just for, training exercises, but same that is said many, many times 1 year ago. But anyway, Canada issued the warning for all Canadian citizens to leave Belarus at once. One country can be off the mark, off the target, but can many countries be off? I doubt it. I think the chances are that most countries know what they're talking about and they are spot on. Something big is going to get down and they want their citizens out before it happens. I don't know. If I was a citizen of those countries, I would listen. And if I was Russian, if I'm Russian, but if I was in Russia, I would listen. If I was concerned about the situation, I would listen. But I guess it's up to Russians. So it's very obvious that the intelligences of different countries, very, very good intelligence services, they know that something big and huge is coming. But what exactly? Let's talk about that. Well, usually announcements in Russia about big things, they come out from the leader himself. The Supreme Commander. Important things are usually announced during the usual annual addresses to Federal Union. Федеральное послание. Usually it happens at the end of the year, and there was no address in 2022, with no explanations given by the president. He's been silent. His spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, has been pretty, active explaining what was happening. But who is Dmitry Peskov? Why does he speak instead of Putin? I want to hear the president himself, okay? He doesn't speak much, So no address in 2022, and it's obvious to me because they had nothing to talk about. Putin, what would he say? Oh, we've been having tremendous problems on the front lines. I doubt he would like that. Oh, we having this plans? No plans, Oh, we having this advantages? No advantages. So there was nothing to talk about. But a surprising announcement was made about such address on February 21st. Almost February 24th. And you remember what is February 24th? That's 1 year anniversary of this fudging disaster that Russia started waging onto Ukraine, okay? So I think that doing the address on February 24th would be symbolic, and they decided to bump it up a few days earlier to February 21st. So that is clear that this is the very last attempt. Russia does not have anything except for the people, like I said. If it fails now, well, if nothing happens and Russia continues to go as it has been going, the resources are drained. Every single rocket that is fired to Ukraine cannot be replaced easily. Every single shot fired cannot be replaced easily. Every single tank lost cannot be replaced easily. So Russia is in a long exhaustion game, and it's not going to win its game, right? So Russia's going to do something. That's going to make the one last final attempt. It's kind of a win or lose situation. And if it fails to make this attempt, Russia will fail to win, definitely. If it makes an attempt, well, at least there is some space to maneuver, I guess, So about this address, it was not announced today, but a couple days before. But today there are very strange news coming out, like yesterday, today. This is the strangest address, I'd say, in the history of Russia. Because usually, preparing such address, many people are involved. Excuse me. Lots of people in the government, chief of staff if is involved, ministries providing different information, governors of the provinces, everyone is requested information. And they're given 45 to 60 days to prepare and supply this information. Usually it's economic information, some political information. That information is processed, packed. Looks like it's buffering. Interesting. Anyway, so this is many people are involved into the preparation of the speeches, right? It's open, it's out there in the public, and the topics are well known in advance of such an address. This year is absolutely different. There have been no inquiries whatsoever. The speech is being prepared, it looks like, by a few people inside the very inner circle, I think, to make sure there are no leaks. And why they don't want any leaks? Because they want to leave everyone in the dark until the announcement is made, okay? No one knows what the Tsar will speak of, but I guess I can guess, it's going to be something major, something like a crusade. But you know what? They don't want people to know one day before the speech is made, Only at the time of speech, people must learn, because they learned from their mistakes, okay? This is going to be something major. I think It's going to be either a holy war announcement or a crusade. Something like this. Oh, this is the turning point in our lives. It's us versus them. It's us or them now. We must unite behind our supreme leader. We must leave aside all concerns and all disagreements, because this is it. This is the moment of truth. We must unite, and we must win this holy war, or this crusade, even if some of us sacrifice their lives in the process. It doesn't matter, because the motherland needs us to win. We either win or we will die, and then there's no middle. Okay, something like that will be announced. You mark my words. Of course, I can be wrong, but we'll see. 21st of February, I think I'm going to be streaming live what Vladimir Putin will be speaking. So, I'm not sure. What form it'll be packaged into, but the idea will be this: holy war, crusade, unity, Russian world versus the entire world. It's them waging war on us. We're, of course, as always, defending, because we're a peaceful nation. We never attack anyone. We never attacked Ukraine. We're just merely defending ourselves. Well, it just happened to be on the Ukrainian soil, killing Ukrainians, but that's an act of defense, defending ourselves, So, this is the second thing that is odd, that is major, okay? And there's actually the third thing. The third news started breaking out, and they're very disturbing. Like I said, they started this next phase of mobilization covertly on January 17th. But today, the cover has been taken off. Like I said, they cannot hide it forever. Mass holdups and interrogations at the Russian airports started happening in the morning, and as far as I understand, they're still happening throughout the day. Russian males who are coming back to Russia, who have been absent in Russia for 4 to 5 months, that's exactly when the mobilization started, September 21st, okay? In a week, it's going to be 5 months. They are held up by KGB, because KGB is responsible for safe security of the borders, and it controls everything at the airports. So they're taken into special rooms, and they're questioned what of the purposes of their visits to countries, what they were doing there, why they left Russia, and so forth. They're taking their telephones, and telephones are inspected on some occasions by the operatives, I guess, the agents. They are asked for contacts of positioners who reside abroad. I guess they started looking towards people who are outside of Russia and might, pose a threat to them. And this is what has been happening all day. Like I said, there are multiple reports from different airports. If it happened to 1, 2, 3 people, I would disregard it as a margin of error, But it has happened en masse, and to me, that's pretty disturbing. A good friend of mine, member of a breakfast club, just flew to Russia to do some business for a few days. He thought it was safe. What's going to happen to him right now, I don't know, but I'll keep you posted. The thing is, they cannot deny Russian citizens entry into Russian Federation. They simply cannot. If a Russian citizen is wanted by Russian government, is a criminal charge against him, then they simply can arrest a person at the border. But they cannot deny entry of a Russian citizen into the country. It's against the Constitution, okay? So what they're doing is basically, I don't really know, well, I have pretty good reason. I have pretty good idea what they're doing. They're gathering information. Okay, and they will be analyzing that information later. But it means that not only they're doing something to Russian males, it means they're doing it so boldly and so much that the cover is off. You know, the smoke is off the water, so to speak. In Russia, we say, where there's a smoke, there's definitely a fire. So this is fire. The smoke is rumors, but this is fire. This is the facts. This is what's happening. The fire's here, and now it's a matter of fire spreading. This is a small fire right now. Not a big deal. But this isn't a fire nonetheless, and it's going to be spreading. So in these three major news, combined together, they give you and me the big picture. Big escalation is coming up in days, very, very soon. It's around the corner. In the Americans know, in the other countries know. And they must have very trusted sources in the very inside of the Kremlin, in the very inside of the inner circle to know that. I don't know what form it will be announced in the form of holy war, in the form of a crusade, in the form of, the huge defense, in the form of galactic stand or something like that, in the form of Satanists versus us, the righteous ones, stuff like that. But one thing is clear, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The format doesn't matter. The idea is that what matters. And this idea is certainly will take certain form, and the steps will follow. One thing is clear to me. The trouble that we Russians are in right now, we have been for the past year. The troubles will get bigger, so much bigger, very soon. And so many more people will die. Russians must get ready for that. So consider this as the last warning to change something in your life if you're Russian, if you're listening to me. You've been warned. Thank you so much for listening and watching me and giving me a chance today. That's been my message. If you liked it, if you liked the message, I would like to ask you to do a couple things. First, like it, press the like button, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any further updates. Please make reposts in your social media accounts to help me spread the message, and sign up for my Telegram channel called Inside Konstantin's Russia, where I keep you updated on what's happening in the channel. I give you some behind the scenes materials, and I'll keep announcements. I'll keep announcing new streams and new videos. Please do that. Thank you so very much. I would like to hear your feedback, your comments, your opinions, and if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them in the live stream chat that I am turning on right now. Thank you so very much. Pretty sure there'll be lots of questions. If you want me to notice your question easier, please put it in caps and there's a new feature that YouTube just rolled out, like a major moderator or something like that, chief moderator. Anyway, if you want me to notice your message easier, please put it in caps so I see it in large letters, and put Inside Russia after @ so it jumps right into my eyes in a big orange box. Thank you so very much. I see the mods coming back as usual. Thank you so much. You are the best mods on internet. You've been watching my back for the past year. And I would like everyone to say hello to the mods and appreciate what they've done. Lorna, Mommy, Bob S., Harry, Amir, and Black Cat. Thank you. The usual suspects. Also, thank you so much for coming back. We have a large chat today. Well, that's unusual time in Russia. I think more people get interested in the news. About 6,000 people. Without further ado, I'll jump into reading the comments in caps with the orange box. There are a couple super chats. There's a sponsor. Welcome to Inside Russia, Scott. And Donna Olson from Beverly Hills, California. I suspect the message is going to change from SMO to Holy War with the entire West. Donna, thank you. Great to see you. Thank you for your huge support and for your you being a community, part of the community. Thank you so much. I agree with you here. It's going to be the Crusade or the Holy War, like Great National War or something like that. Because that is the very message spewed every single day and night on Russian state TV programs, and we all know that messaging comes from the top. Donna, I think you're spot on, right on the money, and I think it's going to happen. Now, the wording can be different, but actually it could be Holy War. Lena, hello everyone. Constantine, what can we expect for the 24th of February day? Everything seems to be in preparation for the day. No. 24th February will not be, nothing will happen. I think 21st. They don't want to make it so obvious. It's like 1 year anniversary. I think they want to bump a few days earlier. 21st. It's not 24th. 24th is just going to be another day. But 21st is the day to watch. Again, I will be streaming live, telling you what Putin is about to say, because I have a bad feeling that he's going to announce something terrible. Damien Da Silva, the member of the community with fantastic questions, thought stimulating. Pax Rusica. Never heard that before. Is very reminiscent to the Third Reich. Who are the fascists now? Why are bomb shelters being updated? If the Russian people do not help us, this little man can and will end it all. I don't think he'll end it all. I don't think so. I think that I'm right on this one. He doesn't have power to end it all. The first question that you have is kind of like self-answer, includes self-answer. You know, I'm not going to be answering you. I think you all know. And why are bomb shelters being updated? Don't pay too much attention about that. They're just stealing money. There's a huge amount of money has been given from the budget to create bomb shelters, and they're not really creating bomb shelters. They take stools that school children go to when they go to school. They sit on. They put those like chairs, school chairs, but they're called stools here. They put them into basements of large apartment blocks, and they call it a bomb shelter. So they don't do anything. Okay? They're just stealing money. So that's just one way of Russian bureaucrats, Russian state officials to enrich themselves and go and send their families to Dubai, to Miami, to Nice, south of France. As we all saw recently, Europe welcomes Russian government officials with open arms, saying, hey, come as just regular people who stand up and voice against the war denies, but Russian officials who have lots of money, have stolen money from the Russian government to support war and put propaganda in place, they're welcome in Europe. So those people who are in charge of creating bomb shelters, they stole money and they moved to Europe or Dubai or Thailand or, I don't know, Mexico, Virgin Islands. RW, my friend, great to see you. 10 months with my favorite Russian. Thank you so much. I pray about you every single day. If you watch my streams, you are on the list. And you're always in my heart. I think of you. Thank you so much. I'll have to come up with something good for 1 year. You are in our thoughts always. Thank you so much. Thank you. Matsvidas Chesnas or Cessnas, thank you so much. Had no time, listen to your message. We'll listen tomorrow during work. Please do. This is an important message. Wanted share support, love from Lithuania. Praying for Ukraine and free for Russia. Thank you so much. You know that every time I hear nice words from a Lithuanian, Latvian, Estonian, it really warms my heart. I actually have distant relatives in Klaipėda. My father's side, basically my father's ancestors were killed by the commies, and my grandfather survived. Well, therefore, he had a large family, and my dad was one of his sons. And there was another member of family survived the repression. They were put into jail, then released and sent away to, after World War II, to Klaipėda, deported, so to speak, and then that's where they remained ever since. So I'm not Lithuanian, but I have some relatives living there. I guess they're Lithuanians. They were sent there in 45 or 46, right after World War II. First generations, they weren't Lithuanian, but then they became Lithuanians after that, like whoever was born out there already in that land. So thank you so much. Warms my heart. I appreciate, but please listen to the message because this is important. And X-Flying Tiger from Lake Shasta. Howdy, howdy. Why would an American need to be told to leave Russia? Leaving seems obvious to me. I would have left months ago. Be safe, friend. Look, I would question that. This is not really a danger to Americans right now in Russia. I wouldn't say. If Americans, like anyone, if they don't break the law, like that lady basketball player, she brought in marijuana into Russia. That's the dumbest move you can make, But, like, they don't really do anything to Americans. What they weren't to the Americans with double citizenships. Because Russian government will consider those with Russian citizenship as Russians, and they don't care for the second if they're Americans, okay? This is actually, CK Bold, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And Black Cat, St. Petersburg, me in the house. Howdy, howdy. I just spoke to St. Petersburg me a couple days ago. Anyway, look, continuing answering your question. My son lives in Maine. He's 17 years old. And a couple of years ago, like a year and a half ago, I was talking to him. I said, Jake, look, why don't I get you Russian citizenship? He said, why? I said, well, why not? You'll get a second citizenship. Benefits, perhaps you might find it useful in the future, why not? And he said, well, Pop, why not? Let's do it. So I went to a document center in Russia, and it turns out it's a really easy thing to do, to get a citizenship for your kid who wasn't born in Russia. You have to file paperwork, provide, just some documents, pay a fee, and that's it. And I wanted to do that, and then the war happened. And thank goodness I did not get him Russian citizenship, okay? The God really watched me from above. But if he did have second citizenship, if I would get him, he would be a subject to mobilization. This is why the U.S. State Department warned all the Americans who are residing in Russia in case they obtained second citizenship. RW just gifted a sponsorship to 10 people. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you from myself and from 10 people. Please come back on Saturday for sponsors and patrons private stream. Moises Hernandez, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much. No message, but it says thanks for being you. Thanks for being you. Thank you. And this question, well, the statement from Susan DeCirbo. Heart is breaking for you. We'll continue praying and sharing your story. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support, but prayers and words are priceless. Thank you. Much support from New Jersey, USA. Let's pray Putin isn't going to announce the use of nuclear weapons. That we can be sure of. He will not announce. If he wants to use nuclear weapons, that's going to be without announcement. Okay? But the thing is, the reports are coming. He just simply can't. And we have Bert from Maine. Howdy, howdy, Bert. Hey, I have a message to you. I will message through Instagram some news. Thank you so much for your support. Our fellow Mainer from a wonderful state of Maine where life the way should be. And that is the vacation land. One of my most favorite places in the world. Carlson Larrymore, thank you so much. How is declaring a holy war crusade going to change anything on the battlefield? I'll tell you how. West is still supplying Ukraine. Russia is still sending waves of troops to die. Very simple. They just would overwhelm Ukrainians with people. That's it. This is the only tactic, the only strategy, I guess it's not tactic. It's just the only strategy that they have left up their sleeve. There's nothing else. They don't even know what to do, I think, in the army. The generals, they haven't been taught any modern warfare. They just still rely on the books from like 70s and 60s. Jekyll N, as usual, from Australia with no message, but a hugely powerful message with the support. Thank you so much. And I think I missed a few super chats. Let me just quickly go and scan. Black Cat about St. Petersburg, me. CK Bold again, thank you so much. Flying Tiger again, thank you so much. RW, thank you. Masvidas, thank you. And William Handy Jr., oh my god, I feel like I'm living inside Atlas Shrugged. Imagine how I feel. And that's exactly the feeling. You're right on the money. It feels like Atlas Shrugged, okay? Sometimes I want to say, hey, I want to wake up. This is a nightmare. I'm simply dreaming. I'm sleeping. Just someone wake me up and, I come back to normal life. But I wake up and there's more bad news. And there's definitely as Atlas Shrugged. Mototom, a little Dankeschön for your excellent work. Dankeschön. Thank you much. Dankeschön from me to you. Thank you. And Tamas Miklos from Hungary, thank you so much. You've provided great support. I appreciate from bottom of my heart, from me and from my wife. Thank you so much. All right, let's try to jump into the regular questions. Adam H. What if the whole Russia talks about it openly before the 21st of February in panic? That would prevent him for surprises. It would. It actually would. If all people would start taking actions, it would, it would change things immediately. But somehow they don't. Mark Smith, welcome to Inside Russia, new sponsor. Thank you so much for joining. Damien De Silva, another question. Putin has carried through on every threat he has made in the past. Why do you feel he won't go nuclear this time? Well, nuclear is in a league of its own. Nuclear is one. It's the reddest out of all red lines. Once he passes that line, he's up for destruction personally, and he's been warned. Um, and there's nothing left. If now the actions that he takes, they leave him some space to maneuver, some time. If he uses nuclear, this is it. Nothing's left. Okay, this is the end game. And that's going to be the end game to him. And most importantly, that's going to be the end game to all around him. And if Putin has not much to lose, they do. They do. They're rich. They have families. They live in the West. They don't want to lose that. They don't want to lose access to resources. They don't want to lose power. They will not let him. Stalin was taken care of. The guy who took care of Stalin, Beria, he was taken care of by the ones who were surrounding. What makes you think that Putin is what? Is he God or something? He's a human being, Certainly not smarter or not slyer than Stalin. I pray you're correct. That makes two of us. Karsten Hoff, thank you so much from Denmark. I appreciate the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a new sponsor, Roy Cousins. Well, your name isn't new to me. You're very familiar here. Thank you, Roy. Lead type. On February 25th, 2022, I predicted this was the start of World War III. I hope I'm wrong, but it appears we're racing to oblivion. No. I don't believe that, lead type. I believe that Russia is racing to oblivion, and it's trying to outrace itself somehow. The whole world will not be, the whole world actually will come out good. Ukraine will come out shining in the future. The world will be most likely a safer place, believe it or not, because I think that many countries will learn from this mistake and from the mistakes, and they will take some actions to rectify them. Michael Johnson, if I were Putin, I'd be embarrassed to act out on the 1-year anniversary of failure. I think he operates on different values. I don't think he can be embarrassed. He's just different set of emotions and feelings. Nancy Darling, thank you so much. This is scary. Well, this is scary in Russia. For people who remain in Russia, that's very scary. Okay. This month is going to be interesting, that's for sure. Danielski. There are so many good people in Russia. I think the younger Russians understand what's happening and will be forced into something they do not want. I hope that will end sooner than later. Chris B, I hope that your words are heard by God, and let's pray for that. Santa, I think you're right on this also. Putin will escalate this 100% and bring great sadness on the world. Again, Santa, saying I told you so in early January and so forth, would not serve the justice, I've been saying it for how many times, for how many months. Frank in Texas, howdy. Dave Strains. Here in Germany, that's an interesting one. Alex FFM. Here in Germany, I think or hope we still divide between Russians and supporters of the regime. I hope the war ends before we stop distinguish. My grandparents crossed that line. Oh, Alex, I don't know what to tell you. I really hope that war ends before you and other people in other countries stop distinguishing. Because the longer it takes, the more people don't distinguish. And I feel it on myself, and that's not a good feeling. Cheryl Wetley, strange to hear the withdrawal of Kherson described as a disaster. No, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a disaster for Ukraine. That's a natural win for Ukraine. Hey, but I am trying to tell you things from the point of view of Russian government. Okay, plain and simple. That's it. Okay, don't misunderstand me. Okay. Would you have been okay with Putin's actions if he had been more successful in this? No way. Of course, that I, you know, I'm not saying from the Putin's point of view, from the Russian government's point of view, from the people who've been saying, oh, everything is going according to the plan, that's a disaster. But from the Ukrainian point of view and from the world's point of view, that's actually a win. And there's no question, that's my side, that's no question about that. So please do not misunderstand me. That's a very, very, very important issue. American unexceptionalist, if Putin wants to win this war, then he needs to actually take the necessary steps, full mobilization and war economy. But I'm not sure if he has the will. The thing is, please tell me, what is the win? Define the win. The win what? To take Kiev? Is it considered the win? To take entire Ukraine? Is that considered what is the win? We don't know what it is. No one knows, okay? And the people in the government, they have no clue what the win is. So they have no clue how they're going to win it. John Gardner, it was all prophesied in the Bible. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much, John. God bless you too. Bob Brennan, arrived late, missed the message. Please watch the message afterwards, because I think it's worth watching. Carl Svensson, hello from Sweden. Can't believe it's been a year. Me neither. I thought it would be over in weeks, month. I thought it was such a madness, cannot last long, and it's a year, and so many lives. So many lives lost. It's just for what? Katerina, thank you so much for coming. Dear Konstantin, many thanks to you from another Zemfiros fan. Не стреляйте. I know. Thank you, Katerina. Thank you so much. Message from Czech Republic warms my heart from you. Thank you for money. Support is much needed these days. But you know what? The words are priceless. And knowing that there are Zemfiros fans in Czech Republic is really heartwarming. Thank you so much. Děkuji moc. Next time my mom is in the stream, she said she'll be prepared to speak a little bit of Czech. I don't know if you know or not, but my parents lived in Prague for 10 years. Sheberov Apatov. Chris B. Konstantin, there are so many good people in Russia. I think the younger... Oh, I read that already. Rogue Brigade Raven, how well do you agree with Johar Dudayev's words in 95 that Russia uses the same excuse to save Slavic people by Russification, imperialism? I didn't really pay much attention to that figure. Back in the days, I was young, I had other things on my mind, but now I actually look into Johar Dudayev, his legacy, what he did. He was a very smart guy. He was a Russian Soviet army general in charge of strategic bombers that fly all over the world, and not a smart man would not be made the head of that body of Russian army. He actually made lots of peaceful attempts to get along with Russia, and then he was forced to, try to break away from Russia. So I agree with this word. Elsha, I fear your predictions are spot on and I hope they will be put to failure swiftly. Greetings from the Netherlands. Elsha, thank you so much. Great to have you as usual. Look, there's one more thing that might be considered as a savior for this regime. Let's say Putin announces a holy war. He says, well, it could be not holy war, but people's war. This is people's war, okay? And the war is lost soon after. And Russia is forced to sign some agreements, let's say. Then Putin can wash his hands and say, hey, you know what? That wasn't my war. That was people's war. You people, you lost it. I did everything that I could. I did this, this, and that, but Russian populace, Russian folks lost the war. Well, you know what we can do? Let's hold next elections, let's set up new goals, economic goals, and let's keep on going the way we've been going. That's one of the maneuvers he can try. Okay? Let's see what happens. Would she be able to do closing prayer? Thank you. Black Cat, I think she will be, but not in Czech, in Russian. Yes, she will be. Schlumpsack, thank you so much for your support. You are number one, not me. You for the supporting. Thank you so much. Brian Kroc, 76 England, inside Russia. Hi Constantine, a salute to the greatest mods and the greatest advisor. Thank you. I have two advisors, Lorna and Mommy. Hello everyone, third live stream today. Hope everyone is well. Jasper Putting Face, Janine, thank you so much. Hello to you from the brain surgeon. So-called Ivan. He's not Ivan. X-Flying Tiger. Erica, thank you so much. Thank you. Sending love from Uzbekistan to you. Wild Wolfpack, they don't do anything for the moms of dead mobilized. They would. Why would they upgrade shelters? Good point. No, shelters is a joke. Let me tell you, shelters are not supposed to save, protect anyone, save anyone. They're just a way to steal money, plain and simple. I've seen that happen in Russia. That's how Russian government economy works. That's pretty simple, okay? Whoever is in charge of building shelters, most likely it's the mayor of the city. Federal budget sends to mayor, let's say like $10 million, saying, make so many shelters. And he goes, okay, sure. And of course, there's a company that belongs to an old friend or a distant relative or a person, just a trusted person, said, well, we're excellent at creating shelters. We've been doing these shelters all our lives. Here's our presentation. Let's do it. And how much it's going to cost? $10 million. Okay, that's what we have. So they transfer $10 million and in reality, like $300,000 is spent or $500,000 or perhaps $2 million is spent, and everything else is profit. It's legal. I mean, it's plain and simple. They probably even pay taxes of the profit. So the money is transparent and white. In Russia, we say it's white money. It means it can be traced and it's legal. Vendetta, aka Becky. Hi, Konstantin from Germany. Guten Abend. So you think it's possible that Edward Snowden has to serve in the Russian front since he has the Russian citizenship? No. Because in Russia, it doesn't work like that. If you ask me this question, you don't understand Russia 100%. Now, let me tell you. In Russia, all people are created equal. But some are a little more equal than the others. And I think Edward Snowden is a little more equal than the other Russians. There was a funny moment when mobilization was announced. There was a prank played to the son of Dmitry Peskov, the spokesperson of Putin. His son, he's either a student or he graduated from the university already, but he's a young, he just fits the mobilization profile perfectly. So they were doing a live stream on internet and they called him and they said, well, this is mobilization center such and such. You are obliged to show up at the mobilization center and you will be mobilized. And the guy freaked out and he started saying, do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? Do you know that I don't go and serve because, my father will take care of things and stuff like that? It was live. All Russians have seen it, okay? Very few people said something about it. They just looked at it and said, oh well, I think this is freaking so bad, okay? It shouldn't be like that. I think that all people, no one is above the law. But in Russia, some people are a little more equal than others. And that's probably number one thing I loved about the United States and about the Western countries, because no one is above the law. Some people try to get above the law, but a lot of them are caught, prosecuted, thrown to jail and stuff like that. But no one is above the law, okay? That's the major principle. It was freaking executed in the Roman Republic. No one is above the law, okay? And then in Russia, well, some people are a little more equal than the others. Level 70, thank you so much. For the next time you meet with the Breakfast Club, which will be tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is a busy morning for me. Tuesdays are usually busy, but we'll see. Thank you so very, very much. Level 70, appreciate it. Jeffrey, yes. It's actually pretty cool. I like all the advices except for the dating advices that come from you. And everyone, Jeffrey S. is a fantastic guy. He's great. His just sense of humor is incredible. But don't ever take his dating advice, okay? Everything else is fantastic. Galaxy Rider, are you worried about Russell? I have urged him to live, but he's stubborn. I am worried about Russell. Yes, I am. I'm worried about a couple friends of mine who are American, are in Russia. As far as I understand, well, I wouldn't be talking personal details about Russell, because that's his, it's his life. We're live and public now. But to make your answer short, the question to answer your question short, yes, I am very worried about Russell. I might even contact him after the stream and voice my concerns. Okay. D. Reardon, why doesn't anyone mention that while normal Russians are fleeing the sanctions, the head of defense, Putin's right-hand man, is living in $18 million mansion? Everyone knows that. I mean, do you want me to mention? Well, thanks. You mentioned in the stream. Thanks for mentioning, but everyone knows that. It's just not just him. Everyone, like all these people around Putin, they're multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. They live in very expensive houses. They have yachts in France, in the United States, in Miami, all over Europe. They're welcomed with open arms in Europe. Said, oh, please come. They spent vacations, winter vacations in Europe. Many of them, very public war supporters, senators and such, welcomed with open arms into European countries. When regular Russians are not allowed to come. Not for vacation, not for work, for nothing, okay? Just forbidden. But if you're a Russian politician, if you support Putin, if you support war, oh, you're welcome everywhere. All sorts centers, Lithuanian American here. Howdy, howdy, my friend. Great to see you. Thank you. Dirk, hello. Kenny, there's a simple way out for Putin. Get out of Ukraine, just go and say sorry. You know what, Kenny, that is a good way for Russia out of this situation. That is a good way for Russians who will not die if they get out of Ukraine, okay? And it's great for Ukrainians. It's terrible for Putin. Because the moment Russians are out of Ukraine, and the moment he says sorry, there will be question from 140 million Russians. Why the fudge did you do it in the first place? Because 1 year ago he said, this is my decision. I have made this decision to attack Ukraine. And then we will all come to the Kremlin and we will ask him, what have you achieved? How many Russians were killed? How many Ukrainians were killed? Why did you do that? And that's going to be the end of him that very second, okay? So he will never do that. That's the death for him. But that would be a perfect way out, let me tell you. That perfect. Dave Strain. Shield Maiden, Russian troops building up in Kaliningrad, northwest Belarus. NATO will get involved when they try to take Suwalki Gap in Poland to create land corridor between Kaliningrad and Belarus. Doesn't make any sense. Why do they need a land corridor between Kaliningrad and Belarus? So from military strategic point of view, I think, I'm not a soldier, I'm not educated military, but what I think make common sense is they cannot spread out their forces because they need to concentrate in one place. Because if they spread out, then it's going to be easy, very easy for Ukrainians to break through their line because there's going to be sparse and spread out. Okay, so why do they need a corridor in Poland? You know how scared they got when the rocket hit Poland and the one Polish guy was killed? They were running around all day screaming, that's not us, that's not us, we didn't do that, it's not us. So they're deathly afraid of the confrontation with NATO because they don't have anything to present to Ukraine military. Imagine what NATO comes in. I'll tell you, anecdote. Saying, that in Ukraine we fight in NATO. It's like, no kidding. Yeah, really? Yeah. How you doing? Well, kind of having a hard time. We killed so many Ukrainians killed so many Russians, blah, blah. And then what about NATO? Oh, the NATO hasn't showed up yet. So that basically tells you, if NATO shows up, it's going to be a game changer. Bridget Apley, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Sending love from Uzbekistan. Nikolai, has Steven Seagal Russian citizenship? If yes, Ukraine is... Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. Steven Seagal. Ukraine is in trouble, yeah, I know. Nikki, Russian troops have been flying into Kaliningrad, and there are also troops building up along the Lithuanian, Latvian, and Polish borders. I found out about from multiple independent sources. Look, there's a very slim chance that they're gonna attack either Lithuania, either Latvia, or Poland. Why? It's just a suicide. Plain and simple. Article 5 of NATO will be invoked the very same day, and I think everyone has, like all NATO countries, they are prepared. They have their fingers on triggers, okay? They don't have to wait too long. If Article 5 is invoked, then that's it. That's the end. Magda, great stream. Rodowski says earlier, Khodorkovsky probably you meant. Says earlier, or later, NATO has to be ready to fight Putin. He says that is the only way to stop him. If he does, he die. If he does fight NATO, he's on the way out anyway, one way or another. Zug Zwang, he cannot win. Every single step he makes brings him to a worse position. He's gonna... now, this is another way to explain what's gonna happen on the 21st of February. You go to the casino and you've been playing and losing money and you lost everything. Your house, your car, your credit cards are maxed out, and you have $5,000 left in your pocket. And you go and you put all your money onto zero in the roulette. The chances that the zero will, come out are slim to none. But that's the only thing that you have left to do, basically. That's it. $5,000 will not save you. You're like $1 million in debt. And your house is gone, and your car is gone, and your wife probably left you because you just urinated everything away. You have lost $5,000, and you putting it on zero. You're betting on zero. This is what he's gonna do on February 21st. I see hearts in 100% flying. Thank you so much. Jason Carney is in the house. Jason, welcome back. Thank you for giving sponsorship to 5 people. I appreciate from the bottom of my heart. And there's a huge support from you. Thank you from me and Natasha. I appreciate it. Great to see you, and you are the super champion of supporting. Thank you so much. SF Joe, hard to understand massive personnel losses allows survival, but a land loss would be his instant demise. Hard to understand massive personnel losses allows survival, but a land loss would be his instant demise. Why couldn't he demand survival with land loss? Sent you a link about Russian intelligence hack. I hardly understand the question. Massive personnel losses allows survival, but a land loss would be his instant demise. Not entire land loss. Look what happened. Kharkov, Russia lost. Kherson lost. Demise, instant demise? No instant demise. I cannot answer your question. Why couldn't he demand survival and land loss? He needs something to justify the actions, what he has done in the past year. He needs to justify the deaths of, I don't know how many, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands Russians and Ukrainians. He needs to come out and say, hey, look, we did this and this. We killed so many Nazis. We demilitarized Ukraine. But then at this point, he cannot say that because Nazis are long out of the picture. I think in Russia, many people realize that Nazis were just an excuse. No one has shown us the Nazis and the trials over Nazis and so forth, What, we had like a few hundred from Azov battalion captured in Mariupol. They were captured and then they were traded for Medvedchuk, let go, and none of them was put into trial. What Nazis, okay? And he cannot say, well, we demilitarized Ukraine. It would be such an incredible lie that no one would believe because look how much more militarized Ukraine now than it used to be before the war. Now it's militarized up to yin-yang, with modern stuff, with Abrams tanks, with the Leopards from Germany. I wouldn't want to face a German tank. I have a German car, trust me. When I stand in front of my Mercedes, it's looking pretty scary, let alone a tank, a German tank, okay? Now Ukraine has plenty of those. And, gosh, when I had my Mercedes, it's gone. That was a nice car. Loved it. E-Class. Can't even imagine facing a German tank. That'd be a and madness. Bear, Mr. Young, stay safe and do what you have to do. Great work. Thank you. Thank you so much. Florian Lazar, thank you so much. Maybe Putin is expecting a breakthrough in Bakhmut before 21st of February. It seems imminent. I heard the situation there for Ukrainian forces very difficult. The thing is, they've been pushing Bakhmut for how many weeks, how many months, and they still haven't taken it over. They have been reports twice or three times, oh, Bakhmut has been captured. And then every time it turned out to be a lie. Well, surprise, surprise, you know. And as far as I understand, Ukrainians are facing very difficult time there, but Bakhmut is still holding up, you know. It's still not let go. So let's say Bakhmut is taken. And then what? He comes out in front of the country and says, well, ain't I great? I took Bakhmut. And then what? Well, you took Kherson, my friend, you know, and then you just let it go. Let Ukrainians come back to Kherson. And then what? Bakhmut for now. And then perhaps tomorrow it'll be retaken by the Ukrainians, you know. So I don't think it's gonna be any breakthrough. He can use a different accord. He can say, oh, look what's been going on in Bakhmut. It's a tragedy. So many people died. We need unite. We need to unite behind me. You need to stand. You need to go and sign up for the army, get mobilized, and then you lose your life. Yeah, but you know what? That's going to be the cause, the great cause. You're going to go to heaven as a fighter for light, you know, for the Russian world. Because Russian world, we're not just against Ukrainians, we're against the Satanists, because the Satanists run the United States, and the entire Western world is full of Satanists. And that's who they are and stuff. This is what he can come up with, okay? But Bakhmut alone, I mean, is nothing. James Ridley, thank you so much. Welcome to Inside Russia. Jason Carney, again, thank you so much. And we have a new sponsor, Vendetta, aka Becky. I feel, shivers when I look at the name Vendetta. Welcome to Inside Russia. Jeffrey S., the pretty one. She's doing good. Galaxy Rider, got a new job. Now I drive marijuana around Missouri. What? What is that? Are you joking? Carl Svensson, how do I accept gifts? I don't know. Send us your address, we'll send you gifts. Matthew, could Putin offer a ceasefire? I highly doubt it. I think that again, ceasefire would be his loss, his end, because if he offers a ceasefire, Ukrainians will say, you know what, get out of our land, then we will agree to the ceasefire. But then he obviously not going to get out of his land, because that's his death. Not just loss of power, but loss of life. Brian Struvig, howdy, thank you. Pavel, will Steven Seagal be sent to the front? He's got Russian citizenship. Well, Pavel, if he's sent to the front, Ukraine is really in trouble, you know. No, he won't be. Guess what? Because he is up there with them. We in Russia are absolutely equal, but some of us are more equal than the others. Plain and simple. Steven Seagal is more equal than the other Russian citizens. So he will not be sent to the front lines. As a matter of fact, chances are he'll probably go back to the United States, to his home, and say, oh, you know, I'm done with Russia. Just forget about it. Keith Jones, what effect will this speech have on average Russians' views about the war? Hard to say at this point. I know the effect it will have on me and on my friends, but I can't speak for other Russians because they have become a black boxes for me. I don't understand what is driving them these days, and they are appearing more and more of a mysteries for me. So we'll see how the average Russians will take his speech on the 21st. White Lightning 777, thank you so much. If Putin mobilizes Americans in Russia against their will, that'll cause riots in the USA and America gets into war. Even police brutally start riots. Well, I disagree with you on that because this is what the American embassy is doing. It's trying to warn all the Americans, because if Russian government mobilizes Americans who have Russian citizenship, it has every single right to do so. And America and the Americans cannot say a word. Okay? Same thing for the Russians in America. If Russian citizen goes to America, gets a citizenship, it means he becomes a subject to American law, subject to American prosecution, subject to American mobilization in case of a war, and everything. He becomes a citizen of the country. And America can do anything to him, regardless his second citizenship. Anything that it does to its own citizens. And this is Russia. So the United States will have no right to get involved if Russia mobilizes Americans with double citizenship. Now, if there's only one citizenship, American, like let's say American tourist in Russia and gets mobilized, then it's a whole different story. Of course, the United States will get involved. But you see, Russia will never do that. It only mobilizes people with Russian citizenship. Like my son, as a possible Russian citizen, like I said, 18 months ago, I wanted to get him a Russian citizen, and thank God I didn't get it to him. So if he got Russian citizenship, then he would be a subject. But if he comes over to Russia to visit his family, relatives, friends, or whatever, he will not be touched as American citizen. SF Joe, what makes you think he wouldn't survive a withdrawal and just eliminate any opposition like any protest? It's different. This is not going to be just a spot protests. It's going to be the entire country rising up and asking questions and going to the Kremlin, literally. Because one thing is to show that, oh, we're doing this for this and that. And another thing is when we started doing it, and then all of a sudden, after so many lives lost, after so many economy destroyed, we just go back home and say, oh, forget it, like it never happened. That's very different, okay? The magnitude is absolutely different. Christian Krabe, I wish I found your channel when the world was a simpler and kind of place, Constantine. Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry all this happened. I doubt many Europeans wanted the situation to go this far. Us in Russia, many of us, and I think all of us, we didn't want it to go that far either. Hoping for peace here as well. Thank you so much, Christian. William Handy, thank you to all the mods. Your work assures the top quality product. Thank you for thanking the mods. Louise Murray, definitely food for thought. Thank you so much for good wishes. Isabel Ligo, howdy, big hugs. Thank you. Likewise, do you think Russia will use their new laws that would make them the peacekeepers crusade for God or something? That is a possibility because, like I said, they just made a new law that if it's a peacekeeping mission, that Russian conscripts can get involved, and there are plenty of those. So might be a peacekeepers crusade for God. Let's mark it down. You might be right. There's actually good chances that peacekeeping will be a word, like a new peacekeeping situation in the world, or in Europe, or in Ukraine, or in Russia, or whatever. Florin, another question. Hi, Konstantin. Sorry, I didn't start with a greeting in my previous message. Had no problem. No offense taken. This is the second part of the support. Thank you. I appreciate it. But, no worries. Thank you so much. Black Cat says we can hit 2,000 likes, folks. What do you mean? We haven't hit 2,000 likes yet? What the heck? Wait a second. No, more than that. 2,700. 2,700. Whoa, that's a lot. Juanello, 1946. Does this remind you of the Joseph Goebbels call for total war? I'm not familiar with what's Goebbels' Joseph call for war. Total war. White Lightning. I doubt that any of the beautiful people like Seagal or Snowden will ever get drafted, and you're spot on. They will never get drafted because they're more equal than the others. They might do some BS photo op at most. They won't even do that. Steven Seagal is probably way back home in California, chilling, having a good time, Because he's American citizen. He can travel back to America and no one can say a word to him. Rosalind from Australia, good morning. Okay, you know what? I'm going to jump into the very end of the stream and a few questions and we're going to wrap it up. Jeffrey S., I'm sure that you are keeping what the fudge count. Time is up. White Lightning. Oh yeah, that's not to me. Lauren McCall. Konstantin, do you think that Steven Seagal will be sent as an infantry unit or to be dropped out as a bomber to bomb Kiev? Given his great rival, Tsar Bomba. Yeah, a good one. Thank you, Lauren. That's quite a guy. I would like to see you stream Putin's speech and maybe your thoughts during or after, but how could you translate it to English? Paula W., I will be translating. I will be streaming during Putin's speech because I find it very important. I find it a pivotal point in this conflict. It might break the whole thing. And I'm pretty sure it will break because there's nothing left. Okay, that's going to be the last attempt, and this is the best they can throw at, and there's not much they can throw at, Propaganda might once again send Sasha Grey to the front lines. Are you saying that Sasha Grey was at the front lines, Ferrari guy? We could make Seagal into a balloon. I guess Steven Seagal is the the topic of today's conversation. Sean, thank you so much for coming and gifting sponsorship to 20 people from me and from 20 people. That's huge. I appreciate very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Heather says you're 100% correct, Konstantin. Thank you. We must build a peaceful future for our children. I'm trying the best I can. Children is the most valuable part of our lives, and then won't even go there. Ziva, Putin is going by Stalin's famous quote: "The death of one man is a tragedy. The death of a million is statistic." Putin considers all death as both sides of a border stats. Hard to disagree with you. Unfortunately, it's hard to disagree with you. Duzangle, what will happen if Russia and US change their presence for 5 years? You know, I think Russia would make a good start if it changed its president for once, okay, in the recent history. That would be a very, very good start. Nikolai, Ukraine has Luke Skywalker. I'm not sure I understand. Who is Luke Skywalker? Roy Cousins. Steven Seagal is 70 years old now. Is he that old? Wow. I liked his old movies from the 80s. Actually, one of them was called something like "No One Is Above the Law" or something like that. That's so sarcastic. Rob GRT. Russia has been sending a lot of troops to Kaliningrad. Various US OSN groups think Russia is going to try to Russian breakthrough Slovakia gap and join Kaliningrad with Belarus. For what? What does it need? Like, why? That would be an instant Article 5 invoking. If Russia wanted to commit suicide, it would do that. But why does it need to join Kaliningrad with Belarus? Belarus is not Russia, okay, technically. Why? I don't understand. Andrew Loxley, howdy Constantine would be now. Seem there is also now tax on human life. Aye. Brian, thank you. What do I have to do with no? Why? What have I done so incredibly great that you're saying that? Edges, edges, edges. Ed IJS. Constantine, thank you for the content. Listening since first. EP Love from Latvia. Thank you so much, my Latvian friend. Hard to pronounce. Edge. Edges. Oh, I'm so sorry. I must be pronouncing it wrong, but thank you so much for nice words. Priceless. Thank you. Liberty Man, Russia doesn't want to feel the hammer of Poland. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Trust me, it doesn't want to. It got so scared when the rocket landed in Poland territory, in Polish territory. They were running around for the entire day saying, "It's not us, it's not us, it's not us. Oh, we've been framed, Galaxy Rider, I'm a licensed marijuana agent, not a joke. What the hell? Is it legal in the United States? What? Ottavio Angeli, Constantine, time is up. Okay, wrapping up. Thank you for all those insights from point of view of a Russian who decided to not close his eyes. You're a brave man. Thank you that I am. But you know what? How scared I get sometimes? Especially when I was in Russia. It's a little better in Uzbekistan, but still, I'm not feeling 100% safe, But God, I was scared. I don't want to be rude, but at times it was very scary. When they announced mobilization, I actually waited. I said goodbye for real at the end of every stream. and I was afraid that they would knock on the door and grab me. And anyway, um, a lot of you remember the story. My friends, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you so very much for coming. That's been a very important stream, and it's been a large one. In terms of attendance, I see that like over 5,000 people were attending. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you found my message valuable, important, interesting. Interesting, I'm not sure, but valuable and important. That's Donna. Thank you so much. Pot is legal in California. I don't understand this concept, but anyway, who am I to say something about the USA? Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Please join me in prayer if you're religious, and if you're not religious, please join me anyway. We ask for people, for God to send something good to people, good energy, good vibes. Make wishes of people come true. So please join us. Um, I believe that everyone has God in their lives and in their hearts. Every one of us has heart that beats, and if your heart beats, then you have love in your heart for someone. Some people have more love, some people have less love, but I have not seen one person who does not have love for someone. And God is love, so in my eyes, everyone has God in their heart, his or her heart. So um, please join me in. If you're a non-believer, join me anyway, please. Thank you so much. My friends, let's do it. Dear God, our Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables. Thank you for giving roofs over our heads, surrounding us with people that we love, who we love and who love us. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy. Uh, Please give us and our children, all of us, peaceful skies over our heads. Please give us wisdom to raise our children the way that when they grow up, they will make this place a better world and they will never fight in any war. Dear God, please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Reach out, people. You know who to reach out. Please fill their hearts, souls, heads with love, mercy, remorse, empathy, forgiveness. Please open their eyes and have them see what has happened, what tragedy has happened in Ukraine, so they wake up from this lethargic sleep and make this right decision to stop the bloodshed. Please do that. We are asking and begging you. Please help everyone who's been affected in Ukraine by this terrible tragedy. Please help people answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Please send them recovery, soothe their souls, send them love and forgiveness. Send your angels to everyone in Ukraine so the angels keep people out of harm's way and not every single drop of blood is shed anymore. Please help my country, Russia. Send your army of the strongest angels with the sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael, to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country and have been destroying it. Please have my country run by the angels, make it right, make it peaceful, make it a good neighbor, and make it a respected member of international community. Please send safe travels to the ones who are traveling. Send help to the ones who are seeking refuge, getting away from unfairness that surrounds them, especially the ones traveling and seeking refuge with families and children. Help those who are helping Ukraine. God bless them. Please help those who are hungry, homeless, jobless, sick, and struggling with their faith. Send them your love so they feel warmth, they feel your presence, and they feel better. They feel more confident, and they feel more energy, more faith, so their lives will get better. Please send everyone in need your support and your help. Please give us all the peaceful skies above our heads, and keep our children safe and healthy, because these two things that matter most in our lives, and we don't realize them until we lose them. We start feeling pain when our children get sick, when something happens to them, and when our skies above our heads cease to be peaceful. So please keep our children safe and healthy, and give us peaceful skies above our heads. I would like to ask for everyone in Ukraine who is left without electricity, water, and heat. Please send help the way you know how to help, the best means of help to those people, so they will get back to safe, normal life as soon as possible. Please help them. I would like to ask you to help pregnant women who are deciding whether to keep their babies or not. Reach out and talk to them so they make the right choice, please. Thank you for bringing us into this community. Thank you for such a great community that has been created around this channel. Thank you for people from all over the world. Thank you for everyone being nice, friendly, supportive, and loving. Thank you for the prayers that people send each other and me and all of us. Thank you for allowing us to come together and pray. And please help everyone who is praying right now or simply watching us praying. Make everyone's prayer heard and answered, and make everyone's wish come true. I would like to ask for a few people who need your help. And they are Wayne, fighting 2 types of cancer, Shirley and Debbie, Jan Allen, Finola, Lars Henrik and Lars Henrik's mother, the Highwayman, Amanda, Essie from the Scottish Isles, Outlander and family, Choriz and family, David Porter, his wife and daughter, and all people in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Lars, Susan Marshall, Beulah, Buzz Salmon, Janice Burgess, Alvin's mother, and Alvin's sister, Teresa D., Marsha Tucker, Garcia Castellano, Terry Carter, Joe McMahon. Please send help with health. Meta Spencer, Deanna F., Breeze Friends, Pamela J., Albina Fell, Michael Yukon, live from Sweden, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, Igor, Janine, Michael Milkevitz, Marlene, Paul Binns, Richard, Mallory M., Dirk Misler, James Rhodes, Terry, Brittany S., Hannah and her children, Richard Burris, Angelica at Life, and Scan Family's grandson, Grace, Barb, Randolph, Nelly and Arkady, and Yuri, and everyone who is in Mykolaiv, Ukraine right now, Harry's family, Verlinda's niece, Ian James, Doug, Rafaela From, Anna, Priscilla, Michelin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Donald, Deborah, Lisa Son, Jade, Allison Dave Moyers, Janice Burgess, Maureen M., and her sister, Mr. Hanson, Heidi, Bob, Tony, Caitlin, Rob, Matt, Jennifer, Umel, Ashley and family, Mr. Dean Spooner and his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, Lisa Cumrian, Jacob, Adam Oliver, Treasure, Kyle's wife, Grace Philosophy, her family and her grandchildren, Maggie, Carmen's sister, Vladislav and his father Sergey, Susie Myler, Gina and her husband Wayfarer, EMS paramedic Liz, Karen from Maine, Lori Miles' husband, Sherry, Layla, Philip's mother, and a few children I would like to specifically ask. They are Cadence, Maverick, Sebastian, Coulter, Theo, Maddie, Ansley, and 2-year-old niece of Karen Vasseur. Please help. Send them recovery, send them good health, show them your miracles, send their families strength and love. Please help all the children who have been affected by the tragedy in Ukraine and all the children who have been affected in Russia. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you very much for coming and giving me a chance to deliver another message. Thanks for listening, watching, conversing, sending prayers and good comments. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're awesome and you rock. I will have a message tomorrow. York Asmussen, thank you so much for your support. I will make another stream tomorrow at usual time. It's just I don't know what it's going to be depending on whether we have breaking news or not. I hope I will talk of a scheduled topic, but we will see. Please stay tuned for the updates, and I'll see you tomorrow. Carthago delenda est.